Hey crew, the gameplay you're watching is from the 1590 Master Dungeon and we're in here solo to show this thing off. Today we have the best Solar 3.0 Warlock build that I have played with so far, and the reason I believe it's the best is because we don't rely on any artifact mod like Classy Restoration, and we also don't rely on any certain exotic like the Vex mythoclast weapon with the Rain of Fire build that we did last for the Warlock. Starfire Protocol is also amazing, but again, it relies on Class T Restoration, unfortunately, so that's going to disappear after this season's over. I also think Warlocks have the best overall Solar 3.0 kit, and I was thinking of showing off why they are so much better than the Titans or Hunters in another video, so if you're interested in seeing that breakdown, let me know in the comments and I'll get that out to you. With the Invincible Phoenix here, we literally cannot die. We receive healing from so many different sources like Restoration ×2, without the artifact mod of course, healing, cure, and vampiric. So 4 different ways to heal and also 4 different ways to proc that healing, which is just crazy. That means we're not relying on one certain ability or gameplay loop, right? There's a bunch of different things we can do to keep that healing up. If the survivability wasn't enough already, we're adding in that 50% damage boost from 2 different sources, and we can keep those damage boosts up all the time, which just further inflates any solar weapon we're using and makes it that much better. And the biggest thing I want you to understand about this build is you can use whatever exotic you want. I tested this setup with multiple exotics and it works the same with all of them, which is once again why I think when this season is over and Classy Restoration is gone from the artifact, Warlocks will be the top dog when it comes to Solar 3.0, and now that the more I talk about it and play with it and test it and the more testing I've done, I really think they're going to be the best class, and I just think I should do that video and show you guys why. Thank you so much to all of you who have become members of the YouTube channel. The extra support means so much and I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. For those of you that would like to help support me and my dream of full-time on YouTube, just click that join button on the channel or the link in the pinned comment and you get some extra perks for being a member as well. So thank you if you choose to do so. Okay, so we're over here on the Warlock. You want to be using Well of Radiance, of course. This is a support build, a healing build. You want to be helping your team out, and Dawnblade just isn't that good. Also, look at my Warlock. Look how good he looks. That's a pretty good looking Warlock, right? Okay, so back to the subclass. Phoenix Dive, take advantage of it. We're going to be up in the air a lot. We are the Phoenix, so dive to the ground. With this, it also cures you instantly. And then Healing Rift and Empowering Rift, we're just not taking advantage of very much. So Phoenix Dive is the way to go. For your melee, you have the choice here to use either Celestial Fire, that got updated, so it does apply Scorch to enemies, 30 Scorch stacks if you hit all 3 Celestial Fire shots. And then you can use Incinerator Snap. So both those are options. I would use Incinerator Snap for easier content, and I'll go over that in a different video if you guys do end up wanting the video for why Solar Warlocks are the best. But Celestial Fire I would use in more difficult content, because in more difficult content you want to make sure you get a kill with your melee, especially if you're proccing different melee exotics or something like that. So Celestial Fire is better for harder content because it puts out more damage to a single target. Healing Grenade, obviously, this is our main source of healing and how we're going to be applying Restoration. It applies Restoration to us, which is just great, and then it also cures. Touch of Flame here, Healing Grenades improve the strength of cure and restoration effects applied to you. So we're using Touch of Flame aspect to bump up our Healing Grenade more. And then you're also going to be wanting using Heat Rises. This is so when you consume our grenade, it activates Heat Rises, okay? And that releases a burst of healing energy around you, which heals you and your allies. And then also consuming a healing grenade increases the strength of the burst. Final blows while airborne increase the duration of Heat Rises and grant melee energy. Any kind of kills when you're in the air will give us extra melee energy, and this is even like a bunny hop in the air. It doesn't mean you have to be flying 40 feet in the air. You could be bunny hopping off the ground and get a kill, and that will proc the extra melee. So that's just great, and you literally need like 2 kills to refund your melee, and that's because of one of the fragments we're taking advantage of down here. So for the first one, Ember of Empyrean, Solar Weapon or Ability Final Blows extend the duration of Restoration and Radiant effects applied to you. This is really important because we're going to keep up our Restoration Radiant 24/7. We do lose 10 resilience here, but we're also pairing this with Ember of Solace. Radiant and Restoration effects applied to you have increased duration. The reason for this is normally when you throw a healing grenade on the ground, it literally lasts 3 or 4 seconds, Restoration ×2 because of Touch of Flame. This bumps it up to 6 to 7 seconds, which means it just gives you more of an opportunity to then start chaining the Radiant and Restoration. So Unfortunately, you have to use Solus, or at least Solus makes it a lot easier, because if you only have 3 seconds once you pop your grenade to get a kill, in more difficult content, that kill just might not happen. So I would prefer Solus with this build, and that's what you saw in the dungeon. For the next fragment, Ember of Searing, defeating scorched targets grants melee energy. This is pairing with Heat Rises to give us even more melee energy when we defeat people. While you're in the air, you're taking the bonuses from Heat Rises and also from Ember of Searing. This is also the fragment I would trade out if I was doing hard content like a Grandmaster with a team. I would probably put Ember of Benevolence here. Applying Restoration, Cure, or Radiant to allies grants increased grenade melee and class ability regeneration for a short time. And you're always going to be applying Restoration, Cure, and Radiant to your allies when you're doing more difficult content and staying closer together. And then for the last one, Ember of Torches, powered melee attacks against combatants make you and nearby allies radiant. This is so we have a 25% damage buff all the time on all our weapons, which just beefs them up even more. For the weapons, use whatever you want. I would suggest a solar weapon at least, so you're not relying on the ability Final Blows to extend the duration of Restoration and Radiant. So at least something solar, use whatever you want. New Jotun with the Catalyst, Callus Mini Tool with Incandescent. I'm leveling up my Drang right now, gonna get those perks on there, so yeah, whatever you want there. Other than that, weapons are free to use whatever you want. For the armor, exotics, again, you can use a lot of different exotics with this build. This build will work without any certain exotic, but in the gameplay you were watching, I was using KARNSTEIN armlets. The exotic perk here is Vampire's Caress. Melee kills instantly restore a large amount of health and continue restoring health afterwards for a short duration. So now we have Cure within the subclass, we have Restoration within the subclass, and we have Vampire's Caress within our exotic, so we're taking advantage of that. For the mods here, we have Seeking Wells, so those wells track to us. They actually track to us while we're in the air, so that actually helps us out, so we don't have to go find the wells. We can just drop down right on top of them. We have Fastball for our healing grenades to get them out quicker and to get them over to allies if we need to. For the helmet, you can run Well of Life. That's just a 4th option for healing, right, on top of everything else. You also want Harmonic Siphon, a rapid weapon, Final Blows with a damage matching your subclass type, create an Orb of Power. For your chest piece, you can do Fawn of Might. So we pick up that Solar Well, 25% weapon damage buff. We also have the Radiant buff at all times, so that's on top of this. You want to be hitting 100 resilience so you can survive in all difficult content, because this is just a 40% damage reduction across the board. Boots, we have Melee Wellmaker, because we're going to be throwing that melee a lot, so we're going to create a lot of wells with Melee Wellmaker. And then on our class item, this is really free, and whatever you guys want to do here as well. I just had a Well of Ordnance, so picking up a Solar Well gives me more grenade energy. And then I had Raise of Precision, which, as you saw in the gameplay, we really didn't take advantage of this much. But you could change this to whatever you want, because again, the build does not rely on a certain mod. So this one here is while Radiant, Solar Precision, Final Blows cause combatants to ignite. You could trade this out. You could do something like Flame Harvesting, Solar Exotic, Final Blows create Solar Elemental Wells. This also pairs nicely with Drang. Drang is the legendary sidearm, and it can work with this for whatever reason. You could throw on Revitalizing Blast, stunning a champion causes it to ignite and clear your shield stun. So technically I'm probably going to be running this when it comes to dealing with champions for sure, because it's just free damage. So I hope this video helped you guys out. I hope you found it helpful, because it's a really great build. Overall, it's one of the easiest builds in the game to take advantage of, because there's not some crazy gameplay loop, and you can use a ton of different exotics with this. I used it with Necrotic Grips, I used it with Fellwinter's Helm. There's a bunch of different options you can do here, and it's still just as tanky, and you can survive just as much while changing up the exotic and changing up different things that you want to do. And remember, this Warlock looks pretty sweet, right? Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Have a great rest of your day.